Welcome back, everybody. Hope you've had a great couple of weeks. We appreciate you bearing with us with our schedule. To be honest, it's a little bit jacked at the moment. And on that note, congratulations to this month's winner of the Tap and Die set. Your name is in the description below. And we're a little bit ahead of y'all on recording and work, not so much on the editing. So we don't know exactly what we're giving away, but there will be a link to it in the description as well. So we're kind of getting into final touches, odds and ends mode. Most of the big fabrication type of stuff is done. We've come a long ways with this thing. It seems like we got a long way to go, which I guess we do, but as far as build up, we're just about done, honestly. So there's, I don't know, maybe a handful of things that we need to do before we start tearing it down, and one of them is mud flaps. That's probably the biggest thing we need to do. And if you want to look under here, to be honest with y'all, we don't even remember how exactly the mud flaps would have been on here from the factory. Assuming that was even a thing, they may have all been kind of an add-on maybe by the dealer, because not everybody's required to have mud flaps in the 70s and 80s. I'm not sure how many states even required them, but we're in Texas and we are required to run them, so we got to have them. But regardless of how the factory would have done it or the dealer would have done it, we're pretty sure we can do better. Because we just remember a piece of angle iron hanging down here with maybe some brackets. Not sure if that was even original, but kind of sucked. So what we're gonna do is take a little piece of 1x2 rectangular tubing, come off of a bracket on the frame right there, maybe angle it down, and we want to hit it right here. Then we're going to hang a piece of maybe 12 gauge plate or something like that, 3/16 off of it, and bolt our mud flap to this little piece of plate. So it'll be fairly close to the fender, so it'll kind of look, relatively seamless. But there's no way to really connect anything to this fender like a new truck would be screwed around here. And you can't really do that on here. So we decided to build something coming off the frame, be pretty rigid, hopefully won't have to worry about it. So that's the first thing we're gonna do. So then the next thing we gotta do is we need a receiver hitch on this thing. Pulling trailers off of the bumper like this is a thing of the past. So we may even be able to rob the receiver off of the Dodge we stole the motor out of and just kind of rework it where we can get our receiver tube right here where we want it. If we can do that, that'd be great. If not, we'll build it from scratch. It's not a big deal, but we got to get that done. Then next thing we need to do is get this mounted. This is a little trailer brake controller, red arc, but it's one of the ones where all you got is a knob coming through a dash or whatever. There we go. There's the little knob. So we were looking for something that was going to be, small. It wasn't bulky, like an old-fashioned one. So that'll go behind the dash, and all you'll see is this little knob. So it'll be slick. We want to put that in the ashtray in that little plate we put over the hole. So it should be, concealed, but easy to get to. Kind of what we were going for. Should look pretty good. And then we got a little base knob, which is just a knob. We're going to put it in the ashtray too, so it'll be hidden. And then we also need to weld up this hole. Ooh. Since we have our equalizer going to our saddle tank on this side, we don't need to fill it from the passenger side anymore. So we're going to take all of this out. We'll just cut a little patch panel and we'll put a little shape in it and get it welded in here. Get that slicked off. So we need to get that done. And then one of the last things we want to do is just dress this up a little bit so we're not looking at the top of this radiator. It looks kind of ugly. but it already has these little studs coming off the top. So we just wanted to take a little piece of sheet metal and break this lip down on each side so that it kind of grabs these two edges here. We'll drill our holes for these studs to come through, and then you can just put little nuts on there, nothing to it. But I think it'll really dress this up a lot. But that's about it, at least for now. That's what we can think of. We just want to get all the little odds and ends, you know, loose ends, everything we can think of done before we start taking this thing apart and painting stuff. The first thing we're going to do is build us some mud flap hangers. So let's get to work. So it looks like we're going to be coming off the frame right about where our overloads used to be. So our tubing will be about right there. So we're going to reuse these two holes. But, well, I think it's going to be a little further back. Probably be right there. So I think we're going to have to drill 2 more holes, which is we hate to. So it'll be better. So we just make us a little mounting plate. Like that. And then drill all our holes up, get our plates mounted, and then we'll cut some tubing. Three and a quarter. Three and a quarter. About 4. So there's our 4 holes marked out. Just drill these. We'll make a mirror image for the other side. Hope for the best. And we can cut some tubing. I guess I screwed the pooch. Somehow I screwed up the measurement from that hole down. This one's a 1/2 inch low. So I guess we'll have to weld them up, re-drill it here. It happens.
Yep, sometimes. Ah, it fits great.
There we go. Halfway there. It almost just comes straight off of there.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Just have it sit right here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll try it. We'll go cut a piece 28, stick it in here and see what it looks like. Can't tell exactly how square it is, but it's not bad. It's hitting the fender here. We'll probably have to clearance it some. Well, it looks like it's going to be a little easier than we thought. We were originally thinking it was going to have to come down and then come across a little bit lower than where it mounts to the frame, but it don't. It's going to be straight. We're going to cut a little radius on the end to make more clearance against the fender. And we'll cap it with a little piece of flat bar. Then we can make our plate that the mud flaps hang on. So not going to be too bad. Went ahead and cut our plates that the mud flap's going to hang on. This is just 12 gauge. And they are 8 inches by 18. And that's going to go right here, just hanging down kind of. It's going to have to come past this a little bit. So we're just about ready to put these on, but before we do, we need to go ahead and cap the ends. Yeah, so we got some little pieces of 1-inch flat bar. I think that's 1/8 also. So just tack it there, hammer it around, get them welded out and cleaned up, then we can put those plates on. leave it at that for now. Go see what it looks like. All right, let's take a look at this. It's not bad. It's not as seamless as it was in my mind. You know, we got that 1/2 inch gap we were looking for, both here and down there. It grows just a little here, but you know, if you're not looking directly at it from the side, it looks pretty good. It's more along the lines of what you'd expect from a modern truck. I don't know, I think it's probably about the best we can expect. You know, without the mud flap, just everything being below the fender. That's about the best you can do. Well, I think we're confident enough now where we can take this back off. We can weld all this out. What do you think about putting the brake down here? Should we leave it straight or should we put a little brake?
Well, I want to say leave it straight, but I'm still a little concerned how close we'll be going to the bigger tires. So I'm almost leaning towards put a little brake in it.
Yeah.
If you do that, I need to get a mark on this, so we know, got a reference mark where the lowest point is on this fender.
Yes, we'll be an inch closer. I don't think a little brake would hurt anything. Just do it at 1.5 inches. So we decided to go ahead and put that brake in here to put a little angle on the mud flap. So I guess we'll go back to the brake. We're going to put it at 1.5 inches and put maybe 5 degrees in it. See what that looks like. Doesn't really need much. All right, well, we put just a couple degrees in it. It's about as little as we could get. You know, we just kind of pulled on the brake until it just yielded. So I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's not much. So we're gonna stick it up there, see what it looks like. If we need a little more, we'll put a little more. Well, this side is more or less how we wanted it. We think it looks pretty good. You know, we had to make some concessions for sure, but I think that's about as good as you're gonna get. Should be plenty strong. It's not mounted to the fender, so it's not going to be tearing up the fender. Hopefully it won't be vibrating and ever touching the fender, but we like it. You just see our slight little break on the bottom. It's not much there, but since we more or less built this on the truck, at least found all of our angles and all that, we have a slight problem. And I think now you can see what that problem is. There isn't enough fender back here to show us where we need to be. So what we're going to have to do is get a little creative. And once our plate is bolted up here, we can use this Pro Mag, which I guess this ain't technically a Pro Mag, but it's an angle finding level. So we'll just use this to find the angle that our tubing is at on the other side. We can transfer a line to our bracket here. That'll set our angle like this. And then we should be able to pull a measurement from the front edge here that's good back to our mud flat bracket. And hopefully that'll give us the gap we need, within reason anyway. But that's about all we can do, because this isn't going to tell us much. This whole lip is missing. So that's what we're going to do. We'll get this side done. We'll get some mud flaps hung on this thing, see what it's going to look like. There we go. Yeah, it's not going to vibrate much, like maybe an 8 either direction.
Yeah, it's pretty solid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very solid. Feel pretty good about it. Alright, now we need to determine how long our mud flaps have to be. Yep, 18 by 18 will do it. Alright, now we're going to make our mud flaps. And we got just this hard plastic Amazon mud flaps. We're going to cut them both out of this one piece. It's not quite long enough. Actually, not even close to long enough. But these may not be permanent anyway, so it's not really that important. So we're just going to cut these holes off. We're going to cut it in half. Cut it down to 18 inches. Whatever we get is what we get, which they're going to be about 15 inches instead of 18 inches. So close enough. Oh yeah.
Halfway through.
Oh no, we don't. Yeah, we do gotta cut it here.
Yeah, if that knife folds up on you.
It's locked. It's a lock blade.
Well,
Just hold the dang straight edge already. Hold it good.
I'm scared and I ain't even holding the knife.
Yeah, there's got to be a better way. Skill saw, maybe. There we go. 2 premium mud flaps.
Yep.
And then So what was it, 7.5? Okay, so 1.5 inches from here. In the center of that, yeah, 7.5. That'd be 9. Sure are shaking a lot.
Well, it's because I'm trying to hold this.
Let me try to hold that. But shoot with this hand. Nothing to it. Okay, now we need some bolts.
Yeah, some bolts. Bolt these things up. See what we got.
Think it'll work. I guess since there's so much of that showing, we're have to color match it. Have to be body colored. Oh, it could be black. It just looked like the mud flap. But there we go. 2 fully functional mud flaps. Now it's time to move on to receiver hitch. Well, we committed grand theft receiver hitch. We don't really see the point in building one from scratch when we got several of them sitting around here on trucks. This one looks like it's going to work pretty good. It does need to be narrowed, I think like 4 inches. It came off the green Dodge. But the height looks like it's going to be pretty good from the mounting surface to the receiver itself as far as its relationship to the bumper. We do need to get this thing sitting where it's supposed to be. It's still kind of loose, but we think it's going to work pretty good. So get this bumper kind of sorted out, snug some of the bolts down, make sure we like it, and then I guess we'll go cut that thing down and get it bolted up here. We'll have to drill holes in the frame and all that good stuff.
More drilling.
Yeah, lots of fun.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to work. We're going to find out. All right, well, I think we formulated a plan of attack for this thing. So this truck doesn't have a whole lot of frame before you get to that brace there for the spring hanger. So we're going to have to eliminate the back hole on each side. So we're going to just chop the back off. That'll let it come back where it needs to be. And we'll get 2 bolts on each side in front of that spring hanger. It should be plenty good enough. And once we cut that off, we'll go ahead and narrow it. Then we can stick it up there where it belongs and mark our holes and drill them. 34 and a quarter. 34 and a quarter. Perfect. Well, when we pulled the tape on it originally, it looked like it was going to work out pretty well height-wise, but as you can see, we're touching the bumper there, and we still got maybe 3/4 of an inch to go up here, so it's too short. So we're thinking about just building new mounting brackets, but we have a piece of 2.5-inch square tubing. So I think what we're going to do is, instead of building new brackets, we're just going to put some angles in here to drop it down what we need. I think that'll be easier than making new brackets. Kind of starting to look like we might have should have just built one from scratch, but I think we're still going to save some work, some time using this thing. So we're going to forge ahead. I think we're just going to figure out what angles we need to get down as low as we need to get, and we'll just rework this tube here. Should be good. All right, scratch all that. We changed our minds. We're not going to lower the receiver. We're going to raise the bumper. So we've been looking at this thing, and it just seems too low to us. This may very well be how it was originally, you know, when this thing rolled off the assembly line, assuming this bumper ain't aftermarket. But, you know, you got a pretty good gap here that you can just see right through. And then you got a big old gap to the tailgate. And the tailgate doesn't really swing down because it's pivoting about right there. So you got loads of room in here. This bumper could come up. So we decided that's what we want to do. So we're just going to cut us some new brackets. All there are is plate steel. So just pull the bumper back off, pull the brackets, and we'll just relay them out on a piece of plate where the bumper's, I don't know, however much higher we decide to go. 1.5 inches, probably.
Yeah.
We'll have to move it back just a little bit, just so there's some clearance between this sheet metal and the back edge of the bumper, because right now there would be next to none. Yeah, that's what we want to do. Not only is it going to solve this problem, but it's just going to look better overall. If it wasn't for that, we probably would have just lived with it, but it's a good excuse to do the right thing, I think. Yeah, so we're going to go ahead and raise the bumper, cut us some new brackets. It's not too big of a deal, and kill two birds with one stone. Okay. The bumper lift brackets are on. I think it looks a whole lot better. I don't see that gap anymore. There's no black. I think it looks a whole lot better. Does stick out a little bit more as a result, but it's really not even noticeable, to be honest. So now, slide our receiver back in there, see if it's gonna work. Well, definitely don't need to cut the front corners anymore.
No.
I believe she's gonna work. We got about an inch between the bumper and the receiver now, so that's good. It's more or less where we're at now. So it's sagging a little bit, but got plenty of room, so that's good. I'm not gonna have to cut this anymore because these brackets aren't shooting down here. So that's good. So all we really got to do now is mark our bolt holes and drill them and bolt this thing up. And we need to do something about a trailer light plug. Pull anything off that.
Yep, one receiver mounted.
Yep.
Move on to small item number 376.
Mm-hmm.
And what's item 376?
I guess the fuel door.
Okay.
Fuel door delete kit.
All right. Here's our next item of business. Getting rid of this sucker.
Ooh. Yep, not gonna need that anymore.
Get this pulled out. Make us a patch panel. Bingo.
I knew you could do it. I wonder if these are the same left and right. Careful, folks, smash your fingers. Well, we got our fuel tank door cut out of here. We got all the paint knocked off. And we have our patch fitting pretty good. So now all we got to do is get this thing stuck in here. Got a pretty good fit on it. Do some welding. Try not to warp this thing up too bad. And try to hammer it back out. I think we've got it about as good as we're going to get it. I wouldn't say it's perfect at this point, but once we get into the bodywork stages and massage on it a little bit more, just be with the bed on the truck, and you know, it's hard to get in there behind that thing to get a hammer on it. So I think we're going to call it for now. I just squirt a little Hitachi gray on there to protect it. Put our fender back on and we kind of see what it looks like. Shoot, can't even tell it was there.
Nope. Just run with it.
Yep.
What's next?
All right, well I guess
Cutting some
now.
holes. Are we building a... Oh, we just put our fender back on.
Oh yeah. Yeah, let's put this fender back on. Get the full effect here.
Oh.
Go. Need some nuts. That's all I got. There we go. All right, well, one of you guys last week asked whether or not we were going to put these marker lights back on the tailgate. And I'm glad y'all did, because we kind of neglecting this. But we never intended to put these back on here. That's the main reason we didn't look for a 1-ton tailgate. we don't really dislike the look of it, just don't really like having all the holes in the body. It's just another place for it to rust eventually. So we originally wanted to use one of these. This is just your standard light bar for a trailer or anything else. But this is more or less what would have been on the trucks in the 90s, as far as I know. I don't know that it would have been exactly like this, but these lights are relatively period correct. You know, the shape of them matches what was on the tailgate. So this is what we wanted to use, but unfortunately, since we raised our bumper up to make it look a little bit better, get rid of that big old gap, it just doesn't clear. The tailgate is skinning the top of these lenses. So we're not going to be able to use that, which is not a big deal, but what we're going to use is just some button lights. It's 3/4 button light, bullet light, whatever you want to call it. So all we're going to do is drill some holes for these grommets right in this sheet metal here. It's probably that tall, this back part of the bed. So we'll just find our center line right here between the tailgate and the bumper. And then we'll find the center from side to side, and we'll put our 3 holes there with these little lights. So you'll hardly even know they're there, but it'll keep you legal at night and it should work just fine.
Yeah, it'll work great.
Yeah, I think you have to be looking for them to even find them, which is even better. Less is more. So we're going to get these holes drilled and then we move on to something else. All right, let's get these holes drilled. We're going to try out some of these new step bits. We haven't had a set of these in 10 years.
Yeah, we got a brand new set of Milwaukee step bits. And while we're on the topic of step bits, here's our next giveaway item. You can own your own set of Milwaukee step bits.
Oh yeah.
So we'll see here in just a second how good they are. You may want them, you may not by the time we're done with this deal. But anyway, this is your next giveaway item. Set of Milwaukee step bits.
Yep. So don't forget to look in the description, see if your name's in there.
Yep, that's right. Have a name in the description.
You need to look for last month too, because we neglected. We did the drawing and then managed to not put the name in the description. So that giveaway happened, you just don't know about it. But your name's in the description from last month too.
Yeah, so check the description, and if your name is in there, make sure you send us an email and get in touch with us. That way we can get your prize sent your way.
Yep.
Should be 3/4.
Let's hope so. How'd she drill?
Drilled like a dream.
Oh man, you went one size too big.
Nah, can't be.
Yeah, I feel like that's what step bits are really made for, is bigger holes and thinner material. Pretty good. I feel like it could have been a little tighter, but paint will take that up actually. So I think that is good. Perfect. Yeah, I think that's going to be good. Nice and hidden, but legal.
Yep, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Now we got some more holes to drill.
Yep.
Need to drill our hole for our fancy trailer brake controller knob and our base knob.
Mm-hmm. All right, next thing on the list, get these bad boys mounted. We got our little base knob here. It's gonna hook up to our amp and our trailer brake controller that we showed earlier. So that thing's pretty cool. And we're gonna mount both of those right there, right next to our outlet in the ashtray. So they'll be hidden, but convenient.
Yeah.
We just need to get these opened up, figure out what size holes we need, and then we can drill them. Nothing to it. All right, we had to get out the instructions for this trailer brake controller. It's a little funky. You got to drill a little bitty hole. So there's a little, I don't know, like a button or something right here. But it's got to go into a little hole. So you got to drill 2 holes, a 3/8 hole and a 1/8 hole, 0.3 inches apart. So we'll have to get in there and lay that out pretty carefully. Not too shabby. All right. Here we go. Base knob installed.
Alright, good.
That looks pretty good. Nice and even.
Yeah, it looks pretty. Looks better than I thought it was going to when I drilled holes.
I like it. You can close that thing up. Nobody will ever know it's there. Perfect.
All right, everybody, we're out of time for this video, but we got some progress made. Got that filler hole patched up. That was weighing on our minds pretty heavy, but it came out all right. I think we'll be okay with that, and then got some of these other items knocked out. So that's gonna do it for this one. Don't forget to go down in the description, see if you're the winner of the tap and die set. And then also, don't forget to go in the comments and type subscribe. That'll get you entered into this month's giveaway, which is a Milwaukee step bit set.
Yeah.
So make sure you do that. That way you're entered in to win. But that's going to do it for this one, everybody. We appreciate y'all watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.